what is the third house? Okay, the astrological third house is the house of communication. Oftenly, it gets that name, but it is also it's the realm of the immediate environment, the processing of raw experience and the construction of meaning through mental connections. It is the domain of the concrete mind, not the abstract philosophizing of the ninth house, but the nimble, curious, and practical intellect that navigates the world right outside our doors. The most fundamental expression of the third house is what? In communication, it's its most basic forms: speaking, writing, listening, and gesturing. This house governs how we express our thoughts and how we absorb information from others. The sign on the cusp and any planets within it describe one's unique style, so a Gemini influenced third house may communicate with quick wit and adaptability, while a Cancer influenced third house might express itself with its sensitivity and nostalgia. My Cancer is actually in third house. I have my Saturn and Cancer in the third house. I also have Black Moon Lilith in my third house in Cancer. Um, so Capricorn influence could lend a serious, structured, and pragmatic tone in the third house. Okay. This house answers the question, how do I think and how do I share those thoughts? This process of communication is inextricably linked to learning and early education. The third house represents the primary, secondary, and early learning environments, the stages where we acquire fundamental skills like reading, writing, and arithmetic. It describes our relationship with teachers, classmates, and the very process of being a student. It is the house of the how of learning. Are we quick studies? Do we learn best through hands on experience? Do we have a short attention span? A strong third house often indicates an agile, curious mind that enjoys the process of gathering data and making connections. Beyond the classroom, the third house rules our immediate environment and familiar surroundings. This includes our neighborhood, our daily commute, local travel, and our literal next door neighbors. It is the landscape of the mundane and the everyday. How do we interact with our surroundings? Do we know everyone on our street, or are we oblivious to them? This house also governs siblings and cousins, our first peers, with whom we practice communication, debate, rivalry, and alliance. The nature of these early relationships is often vividly described by the condition of the third house. Perhaps the most profound function of this house it is its governance of the concrete mind and mental processes. This is the intellect that catalogs, analyzes, and draws linear connections between pieces of information. It is the mind that works with facts, figures, and details. It is the engine of curiosity, the part of us that asks how and what rather than why, a ninth house question. This mental faculty is what allows us to navigate daily tasks, solve practical problems, and tell a compelling story. So the relationship between the third house and its opposite, which is the ninth house, creates the critical axis of the mind. The third house is the microcosm. It is local, factual, detailed, and concrete. The ninth house is the macrocosm. It's global, philosophical, abstract, and ideological. The third house gathers data. The ninth house synthesizes it into belief systems. Okay, the third house reads the manual. The ninth house questions the author's intent. A healthy integration of this axis allows an individual to ground their lofty philosophies in practical facts and to infuse their daily communications with a sense of greater meaning. So, the third house is the workshop of the human mind. Okay, it is where we take the raw material of sensory input from our immediate environment and begin to weave it into a web of understanding through language, connection, and communication. It represents our first attempts to reach out from the self to connect with siblings and peers, to learn about our world and to articulate our place within it. To understand the third house is to understand the fundamental tools of perception and expression that an individual uses to build their model of reality. One thought, one word, and one conversation at a time. It is the I of the first house declaring, this is what I see, and this is what I think about.